All these other things are just leader development tools. Like the MSAF is just a website where you go on and invite people to take surveys about you. So you get feedback from peers, subordinates, and bosses. Specific training sources. Obviously, if you're going to go there, you're going to know what you're looking for. From there, just different links. So training publications. So you can go there. Just go to APD. I don't know if anybody's told you this. Don't Google Army Doctrine. Go to APD, especially when it comes to your leave form. The different COEs, which for you guys, it's going to be CASCOM Sustainment Unit 1 Stop. You might write that one down when we get to TAC log week and you're just begging us to stop because you're overloaded from looking at PowerPoint for like 9 hours a day and your brain can't take it anymore. We're going to reference CASCOM Sustainment Unit 1 Stop because they have animated videos that teach you some of the more difficult things that we try to teach you. So it's a good tool. And just a bunch of other stuff. So that is Army Training Network orientation. You've been oriented, not orientated. Questions on any of that random information? Galatas?
Sir, for the used at all for Commander's climate surveys or not?
You cut out. All I heard was used for Commander's climate surveys. Say that one more time for me.
Sorry, sir. I said, is the MSAF used at all for Commander's climate surveys?
No, not at all. So I think you're supposed to take an MSAF every 3 years. From there, it's on the OER now. Has what what's your MSAF date? That's the only thing about it that's on the OER. And it's supposed to be a self-development tool based on, what your peers and subordinates say about you. Most people just do it because it's a check the box thing. A lot of people don't do it right. They just send the invites to their friends. I believe they're starting to phase the MSAF out, and they're coming up with something new to pair it with Project Athena. Now, Command Climate Survey, totally different thing. The EO representative at your brigade starts the survey, sends the survey link out. Everybody in the formation takes the survey. From there, it takes about a month. The survey populates the results and analyzes the data. That same brigade EO rep then exports all the relevant data and puts it into a PowerPoint presentation, which is basically a bluff bottom line up front, to present to the brigade commander, battalion commander, and your company commander. Really shitty because if something on there shows up, everybody's going to know about it before your company commander does. From there, the brigade EO rep then will give your commander a printed copy of the full report, which is like 350 to 450 pages as well. Then your company commander sits down with your battalion commander and has to come up with a plan on how to improve what they need to improve upon based on what the survey says. From there, that company commander has to put that plan on a memo. The company commander has to sign off on it. The battalion commander has to sign off on it. And then it gets filed with the brigade EO rep. Now, command climate surveys are supposed to be taken within the first 30 days of command. And then a 6-month follow-up every 6 months. Totally different software, different process, not related to anything we're talking about today. But now that you bring it up, does kind of affect company training, platoon training, how the command climate is going to be, because if everybody in the command climate survey says that, you know, the first sergeant's toxic, the commander sucks, and I would rather kill myself than be in this fucking unit for one more day, obviously there's probably going to be like a suicide stand down and, you know, some investigations and things like that. So the command climate survey can affect training in big ways. Eh, 15.6 is official. That being said, yeah. So like we had a 15.6, which is an official investigation. A lot of times what they'll do before they do a 15.6 is they'll have a commander's inquiry, which is still an official investigation, but they go down, they conduct the investigation to figure out if they need an official documented crazy investigation first. So they'll do a commander's inquiry to make somebody go check out the situation to decide if they need to do an official 15.6 first. Like on a command climate survey I was in, we had an NCO that we were kicking out for marijuana usage, and the dude just wanted to watch the world burn. And he knew all the right things to put in the survey. And so he said that we were committing fraud, waste, and abuse in the motor pool and ordering batteries when we didn't need to order batteries and ordering headlights when we didn't need to order headlights. And that he was a PLL clerk, which is the person that does the ordering, which he was not. He was a mechanic. He didn't know anything about any of this. And we had wasted over $50,000 with him alone. Obviously, that triggered some people: fraud, waste, abuse, and wasting, $50,000 of the Army's money. So that triggered an investigation. Well, it's pretty easy to prove all that. All they have to do is print off the reports from the computers for everything we ordered every month, which, by the way, every company commander has to sign anyways. And that was like a one-day thing. So yes, the investigations can be spawned out of those. Typically a lot of sensing sessions where, people sit down with different ranks and different genders and talk about their feelings are spawned out of those as well. It all just depends on what the survey says and how it goes. That being said, talking about command climates and toxicity, and you as a lieutenant, don't go in thinking that you're going to be the best thing ever and you're going to be able to make the organization great. Studies show that it takes 6 months for organizational change to take root. So that means that your first 6 months as a platoon leader are the most important, but things aren't going to happen immediately. And it depends on what you do during those first 6 months and how you're going to instill cultural change in the organization. Some of it may be in your power, some of it may not be in your power. I can tell you that the command that I took, I interviewed for the command as a first lieutenant non-promotable. I took command as a first lieutenant non-promotable. I beat out all the captains that interviewed, and I was given the job because it was an extremely toxic command climate with low morale. And I was basically sent in to identify all the toxic leaders and kick them out of the Army, or at least ruin their careers, to fix the organization, because it was very similar to certain situations at Fort Hood. And it took 3 months before any action was justifiable in a legal aspect, and 6 months before things were finally starting to not be an uphill battle. So just bear that in mind. You're not going to be able to save the world when you get to your unit, but you can try and do the best you can. All right, so we're way off subject. Relevant, good information. Any questions?
Yes, sir. Lieutenant Russell. Will the tasks in AR 350-1 be listed as metal tasks within DTMS, or are you expected to know to just conduct training within AR 350-1?
You'll know. Everybody will know. So when you log on to ALMS, Army Learning Management System, they finally put a hot button up that says mandatory training, and you click on it, and it has all the training you're supposed to do on that website. Typically, most units just have a sheet that they print off, and they're like, all right, welcome to the unit. Here's all the mandatory online training you have to complete. And they tell you good luck, and you bring the certificates with you. Now, depending on unit, depends on what else they hand you. My first unit, which was an absolute, freaking bag of mashed up donut holes. I walked in, they said, welcome LT, here's your 350-1 training sheet. You need to complete all this by the end of the week. Stapled to the back of it is all of the links you need to go to complete it, and the answers to most of the tests. Like, whoa, really don't think we're supposed to be doing that, but I'm new and I don't know what to do. Okay, Roger. So experiences will vary, but most units have an actual list that they just give you and say, go complete it. Because different commands add different things. So you may go to the websites and do what's mandatory for the Army, but you still will have extra to do when you get there.
Right, sure. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Sir, it's Lieutenant Battalonis. So for the CAPL, you said there are 7 tests on it. So what will those tests consist of mainly?
Oh man, I really wish I actually paid attention. So the tests, one is I think it's the Nelson-Denny writing criterion, where you just have to write a bunch and it analyzes your, how well of a writer you are. The others, I believe, analyze different aspects of your personality and determine, if you're self-aware, if you're humble. One of them is a leadership attributes test. Those are the only 2 I actually remember. That's Project Athena. CAPL is the website that has all the references, so you can tailor your IDP, your individual development plan, on how you're going to better yourself with actual sources. I wouldn't stress out about it. Yeah, I wouldn't stress out about it. We've finally got to where they put it in the schedule now instead of telling us go take this test this day at this time, and we're like, we can't do that. We're in quarantine, or we can't do that because 22 of the lieutenants still don't have CACs, or stuff like that. So they've kind of worked out most of the kinks ish. None of it's worth a test grade. None of it affects your grade or performance in BOLC. At this point, we're just here to facilitate it and try to help you better yourselves throughout the progress of your entire career.
Sounds good. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, so moving on. I'm going to click on this CATS button and give it a second to load.
Sir, this is LT Fredericks. I just have a quick question.
Yep.
Would you be able to quickly go over the homework assignment for this weekend, just so we know like which websites and whatnot that we need to use this weekend, so we can just make sure that they work for us now?
No. Reason being is I'm showing right now, we're about to go over all the websites you need to use, and I'm going to talk about the documents you need to pull. Then this afternoon, I'm actually going to issue you the assignments and give you lots of helpful hints and stuff. So you're going to get the information. Everything you just asked for is like planned out for the whole day. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Russell, do you have a question?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So we're at ATN. I came down and I clicked cats, and then I realized that cats is a really bad one to start off with. So then I changed my mind and I went to metal. So I clicked on metal. It brought me to this tab. No login required. So this is what metal looks like. The metal website, at least. Now, let's see if we can get this bad boy to work. Little hit and miss. They've improved it. I will say that the improvements over the past 2 years that these sites have been in practice is way better than DTMS. All right, so let's go with, man. Where's the forts? There we go. So Whiskey, Juliet, Alpha, Tango, Hotel, 0. So what I did is I typed in the UIC. That UIC is for Hotel FSC, and it's one of the groups, one of the UICs for the project. When you're given the group assignment, you'll have the UIC. You'll also have what's called the SRC9. For those of you that don't know, UIC is Unit Identification Code. It's a 6-letter or 6 alphanumeric code that identifies the unit specifically. Now, in general rules, the last 2 letters, if they end in alpha alpha, that is the higher unit headquarters, typically a battalion. But for those of you that might be going to a CSSB, so you're in maybe a support maintenance company or an SMC or a component repair company, a CRC, or a CTC, a composite transportation company, heavy, medium, light, whatever you want to, gauge the size of trucks. A lot of those will also have an alpha alpha UIC because they are a special tailored company that is supposed to be able to deploy on its own. Just to cut out some confusion there. Now, typically within a battalion, so the battalion would be the alpha alpha. So if this was the battalion I was going to look at, I would type in Whiskey Juliet Alpha Tango Alpha Alpha. Now, that is for that specific unit, that's the battalion UIC. For the companies, the subordinate companies, battalions are made up of companies. The last 2 digits will be whatever the company is. So we're going to start alphabetically with H, also known as Headquarters Company, or HHC, or HHB if you're in field artillery. So that would be Whiskey Juliet Alpha Tango Tango 0. For some reason, the headquarters unit or the headquarters company is Tango 0. Those are the last 2 digits of the UIC. The first 4 are going to be, unique to whatever unit it is. But if the last 2 are Tango 0, that automatically tells me that that's the headquarters. Then if I go Alpha 0, that's going to be Alpha Company. Bravo 0, that tells me it's going to be Bravo Company. Charlie 0, that tells me it's going to be Charlie Company. Delta 0, Tells me it's going to be Delta Company. Now, this is a BSB, so it has a lot of letters in the alphabet. BSB is a Brigade Support Battalion. So for your assignment, whoever the active duty group is, more than likely you'll get this one, Hotel Zero, which is Hotel FSC, Hotel Forward Support Company. So that's what I typed in. Let's see if it works. Did not work. All right, so what we're gonna do is this TDA right here under the TONE number, we're gonna delete that. Now let's see if it works. See how it worked? Now the reason being for that is because the TONE you guys learned yesterday about training outlines and task. I don't know. I don't remember what it stands for. We'll get there. I've slept since then. But it puts TDA in there automatically. So TDA is a type of unit, and it won't pull up the information if you don't type in a UIC for a TDA unit. None of the units we give you are TDAs. TDAs are weird units like ALU. ALU is a TDA unit. It's not a real Army unit. It's a schoolhouse. So it's kind of like made up. You guys are all in real units and will be assigned real units. So TDA doesn't apply for you. So we just deleted that that TDA out of this column, and bam, it pulled up the UIC that I needed. So this is the medal for Whiskey Juliet Alpha Tango Hotel Zero. I'm going to show you one more way that you can pull that up, because I don't know if Captain Stoll Miller covered it. There is a brigade medal, there's a battalion medal, and there's a company medal. There's no platoon medal. So the lowest level medal there is going to be for the company. If you accidentally put in the battalion medal or the battalion UIC, you will accidentally pull the battalion medal, which does you absolutely no good, because the battalion medal is going to be different than the company. So there's also what's called a SRC. See this number right here in the TONE column? That is the SRC for this company and any company like it. So this is a forward support company that supports a combined arms battalion, which is going to be an armor heavy combined arms battalion that is in a brigade support battalion, and that brigade support battalion is supporting an armor brigade combat team. That's everything that blue bubble is telling me. Now, any unit that fits that description, the Army just literally copies and pastes the medal. So this TONE number specifically is kind of like a serial number for that company and this medal. So any FSC that supports a CAB, a combined arms battalion, that is an armored heavy combined arms battalion, meaning that combined arms battalion is made up of 4 companies. One company is the HHC, one company is a tank company, one company is a tank company, and then the last company is a mechanized infantry company. That's what we mean when we say an armor heavy combined arms battalion. They have infantry and armor, but they have more armor than they do infantry. That's why the AR is there. So they're supporting that armor heavy cab in the BSB in a brigade combat team that's an armor brigade combat team. Any other unit that has that job, the Army's just going to copy and paste it so they have the same MTO. That TONE number is the serial number for that. You can put that TONE number here and it'll pull up the same thing. I'm going to show you a little bit later how to find that so you can find it for your units that you're going to when we get into FMS Web in the afternoon. But that's just a different way to get to the same information. All right, so UIC or TONE number, whichever, type them in, it'll pull it up. From there, we're going to click here. Bam. There's the company medal for this forward support company. So these are the collective tasks. You guys talk about collective tasks yesterday?
Yes, sir, we did.
All right. So these are the collective tasks. Remember, these are the overarching. So this is the big task. So this is the collective task. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So these are the company level, because it's the company metal tasks, collective tasks. I can also know their company level tasks because they say CO in them. So from there, I can click the plus button, and there's the supporting collective tasks. You guys talked about the SCTs, or the supporting collective tasks, right?
Yes, sir, we did.
All right, cool. That saves me some talking. All right, so you click on the plus, and it will bring up the supporting collective tasks for that collective task. Then, you can click these check boxes and click print TE&O, and it'll pull up the TE&O for those tasks. So you can either do it for the whole, I don't want it. Stop it. You can do it for the whole task, or you can do it for every task multiple ways. So we're not going to do that one because I don't like that task. Let's do conduct unit defense and maintain communications. If you just click on it too and it highlights in blue, you can see that it'll download. So let's look at maintain communications. So this is one way to get to the TE&O sheet, the training and evaluation outline report. Told you we'd get to the acronym. So I clicked on this blue tab because I wanted to look at maintain communications. From there, that started downloading and populated this TE&O. So you got a couple options on how to get to the data you want. You can print the metal, and it'll print the whole metal for you. You can print the TE&O, and it will print every TE&O, or you can go through and select what you want. Or you can just click on it, and it'll pull it up. So here's an example of a TE&O. Can you guys read that okay, or do I need to zoom in some?
It's good, sir.
Sir.
All right, so first it tells you, yes, it's the TE&O. Then it tells you the task number. So there's the task number. And somewhere in today's class, we'll get into the specific codings of those tasks, but not going to do it right now. Tells you it's an approved task. It was approved 3 June 2019, and it is effective 30 October 2020. So, distribution restrictions. So this is your foreign release data and your classification. So this classification is good, unlimited. This also tells me that for our international students, it can be used for instruction purposes without restriction. So it's FD1. All right, then we get into the references. So these are the references that are associated with this task. They're required, and if they're primary or not primary. So the only one that's primary is ATP 6-02.53 Tactical Radio Ops. So we have our task, our references, our conditions, and then our standard. Then it tells you if it's a live fire task, yes or no. Then we have this sweet Objective T criteria matrix that tells us how to evaluate the task. Basically, this is a flow chart. So we're say we do this task and you only choose a single threat, which it tells you what a single threat is. But you do night training, and you do the night training in accordance with the CATS statement. So we'll get into CATS a little bit later. Leaders present at the training. So let's say that all leaders are present. So that puts us in the 85% mark. And then the personnel, you've got your whole platoon there, so 80% are present. We're going to say that you were unable to get another platoon leader to conduct that ex-eval, that external evaluation. So that's going to put us in the no column. Then the performance measures, you got 91% of the performance measures completed. You did all of the critical tasks, so you're good there. The leaders performed all of their performance measures on the checklist. So then we get into our grading, so as far as what our assessment is. So with this assessment, you go with the lowest possible column. So what was our lowest factor? It was the fact that we did not do an ex-eval, right? So that means that the highest we can get on this assessment is a P. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir, it does.
All right. So basically for this, if you have less than 59% of the leaders present at your training, you're automatically a U, like no matter what. If you do great in everything, but only 59% or less are present for leaders, automatically a U. So for this evaluation, it's the lowest factor. All right, so remarks, none. Notes, gives you some notes for help, conduct PCCs and inspections, conduct an AAR, blah, blah, blah. Safety risk low, task statements, some danger statements. All right, performance steps and measures. So this is the checklist that I talked to you guys about yesterday. So here are the performance steps and measures you have to complete for this task. These two notes talked about what I talked about yesterday. An asterisk means that it's a leader step. A plus sign means that it's a critical step. So step measures, you have a plan, prepare, and execute phase, go, no-go criteria. And right here, we have the plus sign or the asterisk indicating it's a leader step or a critical step. And there's the answers to the test. So this is all of the steps that have to be performed for the evaluation. Then this is for the evaluator. So this is how you evaluate the training at the bottom. So you got the unit, the iterations, if it's being conducted during day or night, and then it has all the stuff from that objective T criterion labeled here, so it's kind of soldier proofed is the word we'll go with. So it has all that broken down, so it helps determine how you get based off that objective T criteria matrix. So this is your scorecard for your iterations, essentially. Then it has mission supported, so missions that this task supports. And they can be broken down by different tasks or task numbers, whatever. But that's just an identification of a bigger task. You don't really need to worry about that. Then the MOP statement and other stuff. So MOP 4, sometimes MOP 4 statement tells you that some iterations of these should be in MOP 4 or some sort of, we'll say, chemical threat or degradation. MVGs, this task is never conducted with MVGs. There's no supporting collective tasks for this task. There's no OP4 tasks. There's no supporting individual tasks. There's no supporting drills. Scrolling further down, there's some supported other tasks that doesn't really apply to you guys. TADS, it says there's no training aids specified for this task. And then here's a good one for you, equipment LIN. So this is the equipment that you could need to perform this task, mostly radios or radio associated equipment. Any NSNs, national stock numbers, something you may need to order for this task, none identified. Then it gives you the environment. a safety statement, and that is it. That is the TE&O for this task. Let's click on a different one because that one didn't have any individual tasks. There we go. Let's go with employee camouflage. So we can kind of look at some individual tasks associated because that's going to help you come up with a training plan. All right, so this task is employee camouflage, concealment, and deception techniques. Same information, task, references, condition, standard, live fire, objective T criteria matrix, task statements, the performance steps and measures, the performance summary section, MOP statements, MVG statements, prerequisite collective tasks. So, before you can conduct this task, you're supposed to do these. Determine fighting protective position requirements and coordinate survivability operations. One's a battalion level task, one's a company level task. All right, we're gonna let that stop spazzing for a second. Okay, cool. Supporting collective tasks. So here are other collective tasks that support this supporting collective task. So bam, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 platoon level supporting collective tasks for this collective task. So construct an obstacle, construct earth